Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to our Shirin Sfasemis Parshas Tazria Metzorah Tavshin Pei Vav. We find that Rashi brings down Exeris HaKosev, that Chazal understand from the Psukim that the only one who could go ahead and declare the person who's a potential Metzorah as being Tamei or Tar is only the Kohen. That the Kohen needs to go ahead and declare that person as being Tamei or Tar, and without the words of the Kohen, that person, although the Talmid Chacham, although somebody who's capable of knowing the halachas of Tzaras can go ahead and declare that person Tamei, that person does not get the status of Tumah until the Kohen goes ahead and declares the person being Tamei or Tar. So much so that Chazal say that if the Kohen's an Amma Aretz and he doesn't know what to do, then he needs to have a Talmid Chacham go ahead and look at the nega, declare in the nega that it's Tamei, and then tell it over to the Kohen, and the Kohen then goes ahead and declares that person as being Tamei or Tar, but it needs to come from the mouth of the Kohen. Frekta Heligas Fasemis in the year Taf Reish Lamed Hey, I don't understand. It's understandable part of that process. The process of the Tahara taking place through the Kohen, says the Fasemis, that one can go ahead and understand why it needs to be the Kohen who goes ahead and is matar the person. As Chazal say, one of the main reasons why a person becomes a Metzorah is because the person was Moitzi Shem Ra on somebody else. The person said Lashon Hara about somebody else. The person went ahead and created a period, created a separation between him and other Yidden in Klal Yisrael. And therefore, in order to go ahead and have the Tahara, in order to be able to integrate back into society, in order for the person to be able to go know that he had his proper kapara, you need the Kohen. The Kohen is a grandchild of Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen is, as the Mishnah tells us, Oyev Shalom, V'roidev Shalom. Aaron HaKohen's whole essence was to go ahead and to be makar of people, one to another, to be Oyev Shalom, to be Roidev Shalom, chasing after peace. And therefore, you need the grandson of Aaron HaKohen who's capable of going ahead and looking at the Metzorah and saying, yes, you've rectified that which you did wrong. You fixed up the Lashon Hara that you spoke. You fixed up the separation that you created amongst Klal Yisrael, and therefore the Kohen can go ahead and declare Tahara and allow that person to be able to enter back into society. But for Ektis Vasemis, the other half of the equation, I don't understand. The Kohen is known in the Zohar Kodesh to be an Ish Chesed. The Kohen's whole job is to see the positive in other people. He should be the one that needs to go ahead and declare somebody being Tamei. Why would that be the Kohen's job? Why is the Kohen's job the one who needs to say about another Yid that he's Tamei, to say that he's Tar, to say that the Yid is involved in Oyev Shalom, Roidev Shalom? I understand, but why does the Kohen need to be the one that goes in and declares the person as being Tamei? Zakta Sfasemis, an unbelievable thing. The Sfasemis brings out in multiple places throughout these parshas of Tazria and Metzorah, of Varf and the Klei Yakar. The Klei Yakar says that the word Metzorah is made up of two separate words, to be Moitzi Ra, to eradicate, to pull out, to draw out the evil from within the person. Says the Klei Yakar, when a person goes in and gets tzaras on their skin, or on their home, or on their clothing, that is a direct symptom of something deeper taking place inside. It's not just a problem, a skin condition that needs to be taken care of. Rather, it's a direct result of something that's rotten inside, that the person doesn't know how to go ahead and look at another Yid, to speak about another Yid, that the person created sinas chinam inside of themselves, and therefore they get tzaras, but the tzaras is merely a symptom of a deeper problem taking place inside. Says the Klei Yakar, that avoida of a person getting tzaras is not simply a punishment, that a person did something wrong and then they get afflicted with some sort of skin condition, with something taking place on their home or on their clothing. Says the Klei Yakar, that avoida of what takes place with the Metzorah is to be Moitzi Ra, that the process of him going through that tumah and ultimately the Tahara is to pull out, to draw out the evil from inside of that person and to eradicate it and to go out and to get rid of it. And therefore it's Moitzi Ra, it's a Metzorah, the person's a Metzorah, the person's Tamei, the person has tzaras on them, but the goal of it is to be Moitzi Ra, to draw out the evil from inside of them, and ultimately they're able to come to the place where the Kohen is able to say about them that they're Tahar, that's symptoms that came as a direct result of some Ra inside of them has been cured, the Ra inside of them has been taken out, has been Moitzi Ra, and therefore they can go ahead and integrate back into society in a healthier and happier way. Says the Sfasemes in Taf Reish Lamed Hey, if we understand that that's what a Metzorah means, we understand that it's not a negative process, that the nega itself is matar the person, that process of drawing out the evil from inside of the person is not something which is negative, but it's similar to a doctor who goes ahead and cuts the person open in order to take out a cancerous tumor from inside of them. That's not a negative process. It may be painful, and maybe there may be some aspect of separation, there may be some aspect of physical and spiritual pain and emotional pain that the person's going through, but ultimately it's only to draw out the evil inside of them, to let them live a happier and healthier spiritual and physical life. Says the Sfasemis, the goal of tzaras is to draw that out, and therefore the person that's most appropriate to be able to do that is the Kohen. If one of us would go with our problems, there's somebody who's not living in that world of a Kohen, who's not an Ish Chesed, and they would point at our flaws, says the Sfasemis, wouldn't be interested in hearing them, wouldn't be interested in listening to them, and there would be no joy in that process of hearing about the fact that we're tamei. But when you're able to go to a Kohen, and a Kohen's an ish chesed, and you're able to understand that he's a direct manifestation of the Rabban Hashem's chesed in this world, and when he tells you that he's tamei, he's not telling it to you in a negative way, and he's not telling it to you because he wants to push you away, and he's not telling it to you because he wants you to separate you from the rest of Klal Yisrael, but rather he's a doctor who's going ahead and helping heal you. And the process of you being tamei, and the process of you going outside of the Gimel Machanais, that process is ultimately the greatest healing thing that you can do, and it's ultimately going to be the process which allows you to become a bigger and better person when you're able to go to the person who's a Kohen and hear it come out of his mouth, says this Vasamis, that causes a simcha inside of a person. A person feels joy. A person feels happy. A person recognizes that the separation I'm going through is only for my own good. It's Yiridul Etzerich Aliyah. A person is able to recognize that the tzaras, that the tumah that I'm experiencing and I'm going through right now is only to bring me to a greater place of tahara, only in order to draw out and to pull out the ra inside of a person. It was a besura taiva that Klal Yisrael is capable of having tzaras, because as Chazal tells us, it only took place in Eretz Yisrael. It was a maila. The fact that we're able to go ahead and have something wrong and go speak to a person who's going to tell us that yes, there is something wrong, but there's a way to fix it. There's a process to fix it. And that process looks like the negat saras and the drawing out of the evil inside of a person to bring it to skin level, to the surface, and ultimately to be able to clean it up. That is the biggest simcha that Klal Yisrael could have. And Mamela says this, it says this Fasamas, it's the Kohen who declares his Torah, but it's also the Kohen who declares his Tamei. Because that process of knowing that the negative things that we go through, that the dinim that we go through, that the hardships and the challenges that we go through, ultimately for our good, that takes place through the Kohen. Therefore, the Kohen who's the Ish Chesed declares a person Tamei in order to let him know that the Tumah that you're going through is not just a punishment. And it's not just the Rabban Shem saying, I'm not interested in you, Chalila. Rather, it's the Rabban Shem saying there's a process of fixing up that needs to take place. And in order to fix things up, some things need to be brought to the surface and need to be cleaned up. Some separation needs to take place. Some introspection in your own life needs to take place, but it's only in order to make you a better and bigger person. When we're able to recognize that that's what the Kohen does, says this Vasamis, he's the most appropriate person to do that. The one who's Oyev Shalom, who's Roidev Shalom, the Kohen who's Ish Chesed, is capable of declaring Tumah in a way that we're happy to hear about it. We're happy to hear that, yes, please help me fix up the flaws that I have. Please help me fix up the things that I have, because I realize that you're not looking at me in a negative way. I realize that you're not looking at me and just judging me and putting me down, but rather you're looking at me and you want to help me fix up who I am. That's the avodah of the Kohen, and obviously it's not just the Kohen, but it's the avodah of every parent and every mashpia and every rav and every mentor in every generation. Every one of us who are seeking help, to seek out a mentor, to seek out a rav, to seek out a rebbe, to seek out a parent, somebody who's capable of looking at us and saying, yes, I want to be able to help you get rid of those things. Instead of whitewashing them and ignoring the evil that's there, I want to be able to go ahead and be able to draw it out, be able to allow you to recognize that it's just something that's sitting inside of you, that's ultimately poisonous inside of you, but there's a way, there's a process to draw it out, and then a way of chesed to be able to go ahead and say, yes, this tumah here, but let's take it out, let's bring it to the surface, and then let's clean it up, and ultimately that same person is then capable of declaring us as being tar. This is our ikra avodah the whole year, but befrat during Sfiras Ha'omer, when our avodah is to work in ourselves, to feel the joy of being able to say, yes, we're going to work in ourselves slowly but surely, to find those guides and those mentors and those rabbeim and rabbanim who are capable of going out and helping draw out the evil inside of us in a way of chesed, and then ultimately allow those people to be able to say, you've been healed, you've been fixed, things have gone ahead, and come to a better place, and to be able to feel the joy of healing as well. Hashem should help, we should be zeicha to be those people, to find those people, and Hashem to have both the tumah and ultimately to have the tahara that's able to come through the tumah, and Hashem to get the ultimate refuah that comes with us healing ourselves in a ruchniistic way and us becoming bigger and better people. Have a great Shabbos.